How's it going, guys? It's Nutshell, and today I'm going to try and make you guys some money. With the latest event coming to a close, it is now time to think about how you can make money after the event closes, and it's all due to the fact that this event is still going on. And that comes in with Alyonka chocolate bars, as well as some of the other items that are actually found commonly within the pumpkins. And so with that being said, of course, the typical price for an Alyonka chocolate bar is quite high, and this is because of the fact that in the hideout, what you can do is use those Alyonka chocolate bars to create sugar, and sugar being one of the key things and key ingredients in order for you to make moonshine, which is over on the booze generator. 2 packs of sugar and a purified water are what's required to be able to create, for example, the moonshine. And so what typically happens is that everyone is grinding out the packs of sugar to be able to then make the moonshine and therefore make money off of creating moonshine, or simply to be able to use it on the scav case to put in a bottle of moonshine to be able to get a chance at getting some of the best gear and rewards and stuff like that in the game. So the boost generator is the reason why Alyonka chocolate bars are so expensive. So why exactly are we talking about this? Well, it's because of the latest event, meaning that the actual Alyonka chocolate is very, very expensive, and normally up at like 80 to 90k. And with this being one of the key kind of things rewarded as part of the pumpkins, which I'd highly recommend checking out yesterday's video as to what we actually managed to get out of like 46 pumpkins or something crazy. But yeah, these are at 50k right now, and they're fluctuating anywhere from like 40 to 50k dependent on when you're kind of jumping into the game. But what's going to happen is when the supply via the event comes to a close, all of these are going to go up. So what I'd recommend is picking up quite a few of these, enough to cover you don't have to go absolutely crazy and buy up the entire supply on the market. But what you can do is, if you've got space in your stash and you have some time, and you want to make a little bit of money, is just to buy up some of these. Now, when we're talking about making money on the game and trading and kind of that sort of stuff to get more money, essentially what you want to be doing is picking up the cheapest items that have the highest return, as well as the smallest amount of essentially stash space, because you don't want to have like huge rigs that are going to make you more money, because you can't have so many rigs in your stash. Because if, for example, an Alyonka chocolate bar makes me 50k, but a armored rig that takes up 10 slots, for example, is going to cost or make me like 60k, it's using 10 slots. I'd rather actually just go ahead and get the chocolate bars, which are a 1 slot item, compared to that. So what I'm going to do is we are basically just going to stack up on all of these. I'm going to turn them into sugars eventually. Or what we can do is, depending on the price of the chocolate to sugar market at the time of when we're kind of looking to sell all of this sort of stuff, that is when I will either decide to sell the Alyonka or the sugar and like convert them, and that is where it's going to make us the most money. So that's one item, but of course there's loads of different items that are in the game. One thing to note is that power filters, for example, were released as part of the event and are relatively common within the actual market. But what some of you might be thinking is, I'm going to go and buy some power filters to be able to sell them on at a later date for a lot of money. But the problem with this is the flea market commission on items like power filters is super high. So once you get to, 3 million per piece, you're paying 500k, 600k per item, which is very, very expensive. And although this isn't going to be as bad, because this isn't like 10 million rubles to sell one power filter, or 6 million or whatever, which I believe it's 6 million where these kind of become no point in increasing the value, because you've kind of capped the value of the power filters. They're not going to go up as much per percentage of money that you're putting in, but it's really about like, do you want more returns per money put in, or do you want the safe stash base? Now, can probably say that these are going to go up, but they may only go up by like 300k, 400k. So you're only really making like a 25% kind of on your money, and they could potentially just stay the same. Like, there is no guarantees with this sort of stuff, and the supply and demand of them isn't as high as, say, moonshine, because it's constantly repeatable. The actual power filters are required to upgrade your solar power and some of the stations within your hideout, which a lot of people have already done, and so the supply supply and demand is just not there like throughout time. So it's only going to get worse and worse as time goes on because less people need them because they've already done them. Whereas repeatable crafts like moonshine are always there. Everyone is doing them regardless of if they've completed them 1 or 1,000 times. It's always going to be there. It just depends on how many people are playing the game. So with regards to chocolate, it's a much safer investment for you guys to go with. And similarly, what you can do is just look at buying sugar. Now, sugar at the moment is up at 130k. Now, this is a price at which sugar has been for quite a while. And really, you had to go and buy this like during the peak of the event when sugar was down at about 90k per piece, which isn't as good at the moment. And actually yesterday when the ground zero thing was going on, because of the fact that so many people were able to farm so many pumpkins, the prices of sugar just tanked. They went to like 80k, and so in one day you could have made like what, 50k per piece of sugar, and if you wait a little bit, probably going to go up to 150k per piece. But obviously we're in about making the most money, so not going to be the case for us. Things like graphics cards, once again, were part of the whole debacle with the pumpkins. And so, although these are maybe not going to generate you the most return, as I say, if you're just in it for a easier time, graphics cards, not a bad option, but they're probably only going to make you 200k or something like that, as they typically vary from like 1.9 to 2.2 million at the moment of recording this video, prior to when the event happened. So not a huge amount that you're going to make off of these, so be wary of that. But one thing that you can make some money on, and is probably going to be a guarantee, is things that are used to craft. So what am I talking about that like that? So in the video yesterday where we talked about, it's not actually Slickers, isn't it? Anyway, the chocolate bars. So these are at like 8.7k, but what you can do with these is transform them into scav vests, and scav vests do sell. So every single one of the Slickers chocolate bar can be used with Jaeger, I believe, to get a scav vest, and that is essentially worth about 20k per piece. So every single chocolate bar that you buy below 20k is going to make you money. And in fact, right now, this is probably the best returns you're probably going to get, because they're costing about 8k and you're doubling, if not like 2.25 timesing the amount of money that you've got. Scav vests do vary depending on time of year and stuff like that, but at the moment they're set around 20k. But I'd highly recommend going and thinking about buying up a couple of the Slickers just to do over time. You know, you can pick the best time to actually use them, but just stick them in an item case or something that is just going to save you a bit of space, and you can essentially put them in there. Don't worry about them, and then come ahead and just slowly put them in to the trade at which you can do with Jaeger. If we go and try and find it, hopefully we will, if we go to rigs, and there you go, you can do a trade with the one Slickers. So if we went and go and bought one, which hopefully we'll buy, we can put it in there. We get one scav vest, which we can then go ahead and sell for like 18k. So we've basically doubled our money right there. And because you can buy in packs of 12, I believe, if I'm right in thinking, yeah, so like 12 scav vests, you can make like 80k in well, like 120k, 150k, depending on how much you're buying the Slickers for, in every like hour and a half or whatever. So if you want to make some money pretty quick and the best returns for your investment, Slickers pretty good right now. And it's because there were just so many rewarded as part of the Halloween event. So I'm going to go ahead and max out the Slickers. We're going to pop those into our basket. You can see someone's trying to sell them for dollars, which we could buy, but I'd rather keep hold of the dollars, so there you go. We've bought a load of Slickers. I'll pop those in my items box, and we can go ahead and sell them when we want to. The other thing that you can do is make yourself a Lolo multivitamins. Now, how do we do that? Well, there is another barter that you can do with Jaeger, which allows you to purchase multivitamins. Now, what do you need for that? Well, you need Vita Juice to be able to do it. So if we go over to our boy Jaeger and we go down and try and find the vitamins, which is here, you need 2 Vita Juice. Now these are very, very cheap at the minute because of the event, so 9k a piece. And what's great about this is the vitamins themselves are worth about 40 to 45k. So what can we do? Well, we go ahead and buy ourselves some Vita Juice very easily, and you can buy a whole bunch of these. I should have kept the stuff that we did in the video yesterday, but at the same time, we wanted to showcase what the actual loot value was from opening the pumpkins at the time. But essentially, what you can do, just go through, buy up some of these if you're watching this video, and then we can go and trade them in for vitamins. And now you can only do 2 every time it restocks, which is fine because we're in it for the long game, and the money that we're putting in is just basically pure profit. So we're not going to lose money with these sorts of things because it's so cheap at the minute to buy up some of these barter trades. And then the other thing to kind of consider is the FCONs. So these are used for the Red Rebel actual barter as well. These are actually found within the pumpkins. They're sitting around 45k. They typically vary all the way up to about 60 to 70k. But primarily what you can do is use all of your FCONs from the pumpkins or buy them up alongside D-Fuel and propane. Propane being the item that is a little bit harder and difficult to actually get because no one wants to pick them up because they're a big slot item, but are only worth 40k. And what you can do is do the actual barter for the Red Rebel, use the non-found in raid to be able to then get yourself the Red Rebel and sell it on the flea. This is worth 2.2 million rubles right now, so this is like an instant thing that you can do right now because the prices are so good and the actual cost. So buying 15 propane tanks is about 600k, and then you've got FCONs, which are another like 500k if we do like very like rough, which is actually cheaper what you can actually buy them for at the minute. But 600k, 400k, or 500, 1.1 million, and then the D-Fuels are sitting around 30k, so that's 450k. So you're sitting around 1.56 million, and you can instant sell to get a profit of about 600k with the Red Rebel Ice Pick. So I'd highly recommend doing that right now as an additional extra to the ones. Now, if you have anything else, if you know of any other things that you might want to do, for example, with the Tarkola, using those for example, the Holodniks, since they're cheaper, but a lot of these are up in price now, so things like hot rods, herrings and squashes are actually quite expensive, so it can take the price out of the actual making the item. But it's something to consider. Hopefully you guys get the gist. But yeah, that's going to hopefully make you guys some money. And if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoy watching PvE Tarkov, then make sure to subscribe down below. And I will see you in the next video coming soon. Goodbye.